Hey all, how are you doing? Audiohead here. Today we have two DACs in from a company called Schiit Audio. That's Schiit, but it is pronounced the same as the swear word. Today the two DACs are the Modi 2U and the Modi Multibit. It's called. The one on the right with the M logo on the top is actually the Multibit, and the one on the left is the Uber 2, Modi 2 Uber. Today is also the first day that we're using our new recording device, so hopefully the noise floor is a little bit better. I know some people had asked about that, and in case you're wondering, the recording device is the Zoom H4n. I can show you guys that here, look. You guys in production may remember it. It's an older model. There is a newer, updated version to this, but it does do even high-res recording, and it's kind of like a field recorder for a lot of people. So we're going to give it a go, see if the sound quality is better. Hope you guys enjoy that. So a lot of you guys might be interested in these DACs. They are separates. They are small. However, most importantly, they're really a budget amplifier. So what we have is $150 here on the left and $250 on the right. There's a Delta Sigma type style DAC on the left in the Uber 2. So there's a second version. There's actually another model in the Modi line, the Modi 2 regular has a single USB input and is also powered by that USB. That's $99, but this is the step up from that. And then there's one more step up to the Multibit, which is trickle down technology from the Yggdrasil and their other like really high end ladder DACs. R2R DACs is another term for kind of not the Delta Sigma brand of chips that a lot of DACs generally use, but more of a custom bespoke thing. It requires a bespoke filter to get it going correctly. On the left there is an AKM chip, also a decent chip used in a lot of high-end players. It uses in this version an off-the-shelf default filter. So I'll give you my impressions of the sound a little bit later, but just bear that in mind that there's a default filter on the left and there's a custom filter on the right. But generally speaking, these two guys are really interesting for the money. And in terms of ladder DACs, this is probably the cheapest ladder DAC produced to date for $250. They come with a full set of inputs in the back, so 3 digital inputs. The main ones most consumers use, that's coaxial, optical, and your standard USB. They don't do DSD in this case, but it's pretty rare to find those kind of files for most people who are shopping in this price range. My guess would be they don't own too much DSD on top of it. So not a big deal breaker for someone looking at these. The RCA outs are your standard single-ended outputs, and there's a simple on-off switch in the back. 3-way selector in the front to switch between the 3 digital types. Now, in terms of sound, I was impressed with the Modi 2U, the Uber on the left. It has a good sound, and it's definitely a step up from the Jack. At $150, I think one of the things that I found is the DACs can be very touch and go below a couple $100. There are, maybe 50 on the market total, but many of them are from small manufacturers, and they're not super focused on the high-end audiophile sound. A lot of them are just kind of USB interpretations of things. Now, granted, you can also find a bunch of more high-end USB stick style DACs in this price range, but you're not going to get the full connectivity of the 3 types and a larger real estate footprint that you get with this one on the left. The sound is defined. It's a step up from the headphone jack on my computer, and in my interpretation, worth the extra $150 if you're looking to get more fidelity, greater detail out of your computer. Cool, right? Adds a little bit. Now, that being said, these are a little bit different in that they have a separate power supply that needs a separate connected wall wart to them. That design often helps people with keeping the noise level down in terms of design. So it requires a separate power supply, but when you really look at these, it's a separate brought down from 2-channel into a small component that can be used on the desktop. So the intent here is pretty clear. Separate power supply, lower noise floor, higher performance. In terms of the sound difference between this one and the multi-bit you see on the right, the difference is pretty significant in my mind. The main concept I'd like to convey about the sound of the multi-bit in this execution is that it sounds fatter. It sounds bodier. There's more meat on the bones of the notes on the right. That's a pretty good thing. That's like kind of one of the elements that you see in higher end, really nice digital sound is when the digital conversion just has more of a lifelike full body feel to it. One of the issues that really high end digital, when they pull all the information out, when they really get solid detail retrieval, unfortunately it can get crispy sometimes. It can get granular almost. This has more of a nice kind of organic feel and a fuller feel throughout the mid-range while applying a nice smooth high end, which is also pretty cool. Smooth high end from the USB port, not too shabby. And then a nice full round, I would call bass. So a nice full round bass, really rich mids, and a smooth treble all make it, in my opinion, at least worth the $100 extra for the one on the right. So for $250, it's worth the extra effort. I think almost anybody, even with untrained ears, would be able to listen to these two and hear the difference. It's not super subtle like the differences can get with DACs. This one is more pronounced. In my case, I think it's a little bit better. So it's a win on that thing and definitely worth the step up for another $100. You'll get a really interesting sound from your computer laid out, and you also get some very interesting audio file focused technology that you generally don't see, until you see custom stuff way up the chain. So really fun on that. The outputs are the same for both these guys. So again, the Schiit Modi 2 Uber and the Schiit Modi 2 Multibit 150 and 250. Really cool if you're looking to pair this with something. You can just plug this in right to your amp. That's also one more thing I just want to mention. These do not have headphone amplifiers in them specifically. They are just individual breakaway DACs. So you're going to need a headphone amplifier if you want to listen to headphones, or you can plug this directly into your stereo. So it's like an intermediary between your computer and your stereo input, and that's how you get these going. So true inputs at a budget level. Pretty cool stuff. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you on the next one.